I'm Ben Long. I'm a professional falconer, and I do courses and displays and teach people about falconry in general, and that's the sort of thing we do.
Tell us about the bird you've got here.
This is a peregrine. She's a 3-year-old called Ladybird, and she's quite a nice little handleable bird, and the peregrine, as we know, fastest living creature.
It's amazing to see the bond between your bird and yourself. It's extraordinary.
They treat us as a tree with food on, I think, a movable tree. So, and really, you know, they look quite intelligent, but they're actually not that much. So they're reactive hunters, and so our main thing with the bird of this nature is really to bring it to a state where it's calm in domestic circumstances and will come back to us for food.
And they do come back.
Usually, but occasionally not. So we have to track them every so often. And when you fly peregrines in the circumstances of a show, not many people do it, and there's a good reason. It's because they're absolutely unreliable.
It's one of the most ancient sports you can think of, really, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We've been flying birds of prey in Britain since the AD 600s that we know of, and mostly that would, in early days, would have been things like goshawks, which were for food. A bit later, the nobility and people could afford to fly things like peregrines would have flown those for sport. Because they use a lot more sky, you've got to have more people on horseback to chase them, follow the flights and so on. And we've been flying birds of prey continuously since then up until now, although in the mid-1600s the sport or pastime practically died out overnight.
But it's a very popular show display, isn't it?
Very popular. Everybody loves the falconry, and this one wants to go a bit now. So
she certainly does.
How patient she was to start with. Let's pop the hood back on.
Pop the hood back. Yeah, there goes the hood. And well, oh, she doesn't want it on.
That's the bit we're going to cut after,
yeah.
isn't it?
Oh no, stay in. That's fine. She obviously wants to go off for perhaps some lunch, maybe.
She's okay. We'll just pop this on, and come on, be calm. Come on, be calm. But this is peregrines. They are on the edge a little bit, and we always, if we pop the hood on, they become a stuffed one. So in effect, so they are not stressed in any way. They can only see nothing. So as long as they can see nothing, they can be scared of nothing. That's why we hood them.
What kind of birds will we see at the CLA Game Fair?
You'll be seeing some falcons, probably some eagles, Harris hawks, various disciplines of falconry that we use for falconry altogether. These are what sort of aerial birds, but we use birds of the fist like Harris hawks. They fly just back and to the customers and so on. Yeah,
it's a great favourite of the children.
Yeah, children love it, and they can pretend to be a rabbit. They can drag a rabbit, dummy rabbit, along the ground, not a real rabbit, obviously, a dummy one, and be chased by a Harris hawk and caught. You know, so they love that stuff.
And they actually get to get real close to them as well.
Yeah, it's always nice for people to get close enough to the bird, and you know, if possible, touch them. Although we don't, you know, we don't encourage too much stroking. It takes the waterproofing off of the feathers. But yeah, they can touch them and handle them, get really close, and things like barn owls and stuff, which are really cuddly looking. People love those.
Of course, in the news recently, they were reintroducing some quite large birds of prey up in Scotland.
That's correct. Yes, they're trying to reintroduce even more sea eagles. Not always popular, obviously, because some people they won't see so many raptors around. But they are gradually coming back, and most of the raptor species have almost single-handedly been able to regenerate over the last sort of 30 years from very poor populations in the 50s, 60s due to pesticides and so on, and due to really a certain amount of education from falconers, captive breeding by falconers, and a different attitude therefore to birds of prey in general is very useful. And also we've got just more and more and more that way. Obviously the game rearing as well is another different methods of game rearing have made a big difference to the populations. There's more food around, so therefore more raptors in general.
How important are the displays then, finally, for something like the CLA Game Fair for the whole falconry movement?
Well, I think very important, because the more we can educate people into seeing what birds of prey are really like, the better it is for the populations, because people begin to see them as something, not a pest species. And certainly that's happened with the CLA since the 60s, where we've done the falconry displays and generally shown people all about them, and that's made a big difference.
Very good. And your favourite bird?
Oh, got to be a peregrine, isn't it? Yeah, the fastest living creature, you know, it's got to be the best thing. Not everybody's favourite. They're hard work, and you know, they get easily broken because they've got very stiff feathers because of the speed of flight and so on. But to keep them in good condition is hard work. But in general, they are the best we can get, really.